Hello, my little naughties. Welcome to Goya Tales. So, before moving on to the story today, I want to ask you all one thing. Like, we hear many stories, right? Like, when people are chopping down, they're cutting down a lot of trees, big and huge trees. They're chopping down trees to build something like houses or hospitals or schools or some other reason. And we also hear about people who keep fighting against it. Like they say, whatever the reason is, the trees should not be cut down. Right? So when we listen to all these kind of different stories, do we ever pause to think that okay, they are cutting down a tree, but what really happens when they chop a tree? Right? So it's not just the tree, because a tree in itself takes so many years to grow into such a big tree, right? So it takes so many years for the tree to grow, but more than the tree, there are so many other things that are actually dependent on the tree, right? So have you ever thought about it when we hear about stories of trees being chopped down? Not really, right? Not so much. So today we are going to read a story which is also about chopping down a big tree. But it's actually a very funny story. But still, at the end of the story, it makes us think like, okay, so this is what. So no, all these things matters when they cut down a big tree. Okay, so the book that we are going to read today is When Ali Became Bajrangbali. Right, so Ali is the name of this monkey. When Ali Became Bajrangbali, and this book is written by Devashish Makhija, illustrated by Priya Kuriyan, and published by Tulika Books. So let's get into the story. So this story, it takes place in a locality in an area called Bargad Chawl. Okay, so this is Bargad Chawl, and it was morning, but it was not a normal morning. Why? So see this tree in the middle of Bargad Chawl, and you can see so many animals and birds. They are living on this tree. An owl, a monkey, a snake, a few squirrels, bats, birds, so many different animals and birds living in this tree. And it was not a normal morning. Why? Unni, the owl, it was staring at something at a distance. But wait a minute. It was morning, and owls usually sleep in the morning, right? But still, Unni was wide awake. What was he looking at? He was looking at something and he said, Monsters! Whom did he tell it to? He told Ali. So this is Unni, and Unni is telling Ali the monkey that there are monsters. And all the other animals, they also started discussing about it very, very nervously. They were very scared. So they referred to these machines. They said, oh, mechanical monsters, humans are coming. They are going to destroy our houses. So they saw all these machines and they said, oh, humans are coming to destroy our houses. See those sharp big teeth that is going to dig into the tree and remove it and break it and chop it. And those big diggers, it is going to dig into the ground and remove the tree with its roots. And this big roller machine, that is going to flatten this ground forever. So nobody will ever know that there was, such a big tree, which is our house. What is this? So they were all discussing about this when suddenly they heard a tuck, tuck, tuck sound. What was the tuck, tuck? So the bats, so their name was Dupke and Chupke. So those two bats, they got scared. And when they looked down, it was this man with this fierce looking mustache. So he was going round and round the tree and he was measuring the trunk, the tree's trunk. So he was measuring, okay. And all the animals, they were really scared now. So Unni said, Oh no, that's it. Now they are going to destroy our house and no one can save us. And Ali, the monkey, he said, God can? God? Sub- Uni was so surprised. And then Ali said, yes, because my Abu, which is his father, my Abu was a Madaris Bandar, which means a performing monkey. So he used to live with his master in a very tiny house, a small hut with a tin roof. And once these kind of monsters, so they were planning to destroy those huts. And what happened? My dad's father, my dad's master, right, the human, so he prayed so badly to his god. And you know what happened? My Abu said that all the machines, they just went back. They stopped and they went back, and all their houses were saved. So they were not destroyed. So now Ali said, so even I will go and pray to the god. And Jalebi, the snake, so the snake asked, what? You're going to pray to the god of humans? And then the squirrel asked, why would the humans god help us animals? We are all animals, right? And you're saying you're going to go pray to the god of humans. Why will he help us? All these other animals also. So next, even this parrot, Furfurio, repeated, yes, why would humans god help us animals? So they were all asking, but Ali was sure. So Ali was confident and he said, let's try and see. And then he started jumping across from tree to the pole to tree. So he kept jumping and he went where the temple was. He heard a rhythmic sound. So while jumping and going, he heard a sound. Ting, 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 ting. It comes from the temple, right? From the temple bell. And he also heard so many voices singing songs. So he got reminded, oh, yes, yes, my Abu used to say that, humans sing to their gods. So they must be singing from the temple. So he listened where the sound was coming from and he kept jumping and he reached the temple. As soon as he reached the temple, he saw a priest holding a huge bell and he was ringing it. Tung, tung, tung. So he was looking at all those things from the tree. So Ali was sitting on the tree. And what did he see? Right there in the front row, there was one person with his eyes shut, his palms together, and he was praying so so sincerely. Jai Bajrangbali, Jai Bajrangbali. And who was it? It was Mr. Muchwalla. So the man with the fierce looking mustache. So Ali got surprised, and in his surprise he actually fell down and he was saying, oh, so Mr. Muchwalla prays to this god. Maybe then this god must be powerful, huh? Let me see who the god is. So Ali wanted to have a look at the god. So he peeped inside and he looked at the god's idol and he froze. He was so shocked. Why? Because the god was a monkey, just like Ali. So Ali looked at the idol and he said, what? He is just like me. He's a monkey. Oh, okay. So this is the Bajrangbali that they all pray to, is it? So he waited for all the people to leave the temple, and after that, actually Ali came down. He went inside the temple and he saw, okay, so this is the Bajrangbali they all pray to, is it? And he looked from top to the bottom and from bottom to top. And then after that, he tried posing like Bajrangbali. So he lifted his chest, stiffened his tail, and he took his hands, and he was posing like this, and he said, I am Bajrangbali. So he was trying to pose and become Bajrangbali. And right then, Ali had an idea. So what was his idea? So he also wanted to pray and take the God's blessings. So Ali also closed his eyes, lowered his head. He, put his hands together, and he also said, "Oh, this is what the humans did, right?" And he was like, "Jai Bajrangbali," he said. And then he heard a tongue. So he thought, "Oh, God has answered. I think he has given me his blessings." So now Ali thought, okay, God has answered. So it was now time for his plan to be executed. So he needed two things for his plan. And he also knew where to get those things. So behind Bargad Chawal, Ali was running around, and where there was Ram Lila performance happening. So Ram Lila is the theatrical play, like drama, right, of the Ramayana. So they actually act it out for people. So Ram Lila was happening, and he found all the actors. So they all had what Ali wanted. But how will he get it from them? Right then he spotted him. Who was it? It was the mighty 10-headed Ravana. And he was fast asleep. So it was easy. So Ali thought, okay, so I need a crown and a mace, just like Bajrangbali has. So he took Ravan's mace and also one crown which was slipping from one of his 10 heads. So he got both the things. And in the office, Mr. Muchwalla, so he was giving instructions to all his employees. So he was very severely, he was very angrily, furiously, he was telling, okay, so tomorrow this tree needs to be cut down. Now no more delay, so we are doing this tomorrow. He was giving instructions, and he just looked up. What did he look? He saw a shadow through the window, and he was very surprised. So he said, Bajrangbali. Because what did he see? So he saw the shadow of Ali standing on a tree. But these other people who were standing in front of him, they did not understand. They looked at each other in confusion, and then Mr. Muchwalla, he pointed to the window. He said, look, look, there. They all looked, but there was nothing. Mr. Muchwalla also rushed out. He came out and saw, and there was still nothing. He got so scared. He was shaken. So that night, on the way home, he visited Bargad Chawal. So he was really shaken and scared. He visited Bargad Chawal. So all the animals, they got scared too. They said, oh, isn't it that Tuk Tuk guy who came the other day to to be measuring the trunk? And they all were talking, yes, yes, I'm very scared. Oh, but this man doesn't look like he is scared. Looks like he is definitely going to destroy our tree. And after, just when Mr. Muchwalla was about to leave, the tree, the branches of the tree, they shook so vigorously. What was happening? So Mr. Muchwalla stopped, and he looked at the tree, on top of the tree. So he could see something sparkling there. And looking at it, he immediately went on his knees. So he went on his knees, again he lowered his head, and he prayed with his hands. All the other animals were surprised. They were like, what is this man doing? And what is he looking at? So they all looked up to see what it was. And there Ali was standing on the top of the tree with a shiny crown and a mace. So the Muchwalla, so he thought, and he saw Ali there, and he went home. At night, he could not sleep at all for a long time. After which, when he slept, he had a dream. And what was the dream? Who came in his dream? Bajrangbali. So Lord Hanuman, Bajrangbali came in Mr. Muchwalla's dream and said, "Leave Bargad alone. If not, I will burn your mustache. I will set fire to your mustache just as I did to Lanka." And then Mr. Muchwalla, he started shivering. He started murmuring in his sleep, "Jai Bajrangabali, Jai Bajrangabali." So he was so scared. So next day he went to his office and he started screaming at all his employees, all the people who were working for him. He started yelling at everybody and said, This is such a worst plan. Who approved this? Right? Who sanctioned this? This plan is cancelled." And then one of the employees, one of the workers, they actually said, "Sir, you approved it." And Mr. Muchwalla grew even more angry. And then he said, "You are fired." So he cancelled his plan. And the next morning, again, Unni the night owl was wide awake. And what did he see this time? He saw all the monsters, all the mechanical monsters, the machines being taken away. So he was so happy and he said to Ali and all the other animals, "Yay, the monsters are going away. It looks like our house is safe. They are not going to destroy our house." So all the other animals, Gilleri, Dupke, Chupke, Silaru, all these animals, they were all so happy. And Ali couldn't stop grinning because it was his idea, right? So when they were all talking, suddenly they heard a loud voice. "Jai Bajrangabali!" Crack! What was it? Mr. Muchwalla was right there breaking a coconut in front of the tree. And he went on his knees, he closed his eyes and he prayed, saying, "Bajrangabali, I am really sorry. Please forgive me because I didn't know that this was your house. I wouldn't have planned of chopping it down had I known it earlier." Right? So Mr. Muchwalla thought this was the house of Hanuman. The god was living in this tree and he mistook Ali for Bajrangabali. And then he said, "No, no, 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 I'm very, very sorry." So right at the top of the tree was standing our Bajrangabali. So Ali was standing there and he was blessing Mr. Muchwalla with his hand. And the Mr. Mujwalla, he took a big bunch of bananas. He, like we usually give offerings to God, right? Similarly, so he gave bananas. He kept it at the trees, near the tree's trunk. And Ali was smiling. Mr. Mujwalla went away. So now Ali was so happy and relieved because now his tree, his house is going to be safe, and also he is going to be getting bananas every single day from Mr. Muchwalla. So Ali was happily, "Jai Bajrangabali," he shouted and he started eating the bananas. But he was unaware that someone somewhere was still missing their crown and the mace. Nice story, no children? See, it's actually funny to read a story like this, but we should also think about all these animals, no? So, like this, there could be so many other animals that are dependent on trees. So, when we, hear such things that they are chopping down trees and they are building something in the place of trees, we should think and realize that no, it is not the right thing that we are doing. Right? We are actually destroying the houses of so many animals and birds. No, children? Alright, so I hope you enjoyed the story, and next week I'll come again with another wonderful one. Until then, bye bye.